yeah, you can see Bruce is abstract artist, does very well.
Like really good artist.
She does different media. She does.
Yeah. Corey, get over here. Come on. Corey.
So she does all sorts of strange stuff, weird stuff. You know, she did like, I don't know if you're familiar with Restaurant Fire. She was sort of
Okay.
during the winter. She's got a display. She did these things. She uses materials a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister just saw me and everything.
I love that.
So every year it's a little different.
So you know exactly what it's like to be an artist.
Well, I know what she did.
Right, I guess you go through and everything.
Oh yeah, I know concepts, like, you know.
Evening, folks.
For sure.
And here we are at the Shaker Launch House at the Artstrong Show featuring Jeff Mueller and with Ingrid Geronimo.
Yes,
Thank you for
best-
coming, Ingrid.
One of the best digital artists I know.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It's all the way from New Jersey, right?
Yeah, I came all the way from New Jersey.
What a trip, huh?
I believe in him that much.
Thank you.
That is positively awesome, Ingrid. Thank you so much. All right.
It's exciting.
It is really exciting.
Yes.
People are starting to file in, and we're getting the show on the road here, folks. We have Artstrong with the women behind the men. On the left, we have Rachel Mueller, and on the right, we have Karen Verna. Now you know my last name. Yeah, wife of Xavier. There we go. Thanks, ladies.
There's a burger.
Now we have, looks like we have a quorum here, folks.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a picture of all of you.
Oh, you guys are fine. Sure.
Awesome. Are we ready to begin?
Yep, we are ready to go. Well, thanks everybody for coming tonight. I would like to thank Launch House for hosting this great event. It's been about a year in the making and it's finally here, so it's like, thanks for coming. I just want to give you a real quick background on me. I've been doing artwork since I've been 16 years old. My father, he was a commercial artist, taught me everything he knew. I went into airbrush illustration, and then in 1989 got on a Quantel graphic paint box and became a digital artist, and did that all the way until 2004. Now, in 2004, I moved.
It's yours, isn't it? No, it's yours.
In 2004, I moved to Ohio and took a non-art job, but it was by far the best decision I ever made, because what it did was allow me to understand that when you work in the commercial art field, you're always doing art for other people. Well, about 4.5 years ago, and that's what this is, 4.5 years worth of work, I started doing artwork for myself. I decided that I was going to take everything that I had been trained in. I worked on probably as a commercial artist over, I figured about 75,000 photographs. I illustrated over 100 illustrations, digitally and conventionally. And I understand putting ink on paper digitally. So about 4.5 years ago, you ask why? Well, one of the reasons why is because the technology to be able to put digital imagery or digital paint onto canvas became affordable. Before that, it could cost you just to put that onto a canvas upwards of about $10,000. And the price had finally dropped into the hundreds, and I started to experiment with that. So experimenting with that, I came up with the first series that I did. It was a social media multimedia series where I went out and captured people socializing and networking in the physical world and then brought them into the virtual world. Worked on it, created virtual paintings, brought it back into the physical world, but in the meantime I used the virtual world to promote it the whole time. And then now tonight is the culmination of everything, because now we're back into the real world promoting the paintings and giving and showing people. So that's kind of what this was all about. The next series that I did, which was the Cape Cod, make sure you see that out there, I wanted to see how far I could take the process. I went into hyper-realism. I wanted to do hyper-realism because I wanted to see how far you could push this digital process and get how much detail you could get into a painting. Then what I did is I started to evolve the process and put the two together. I did do some compositional cityscapes that you see, the Cleveland Rocks the USA and Bright Lights Big City, and I used my artistic skills that I learned in fine arts art school as far as composition and color and moving people through using composition and color, not just composition, landscape, or people, or shapes. So I was working in 3 different directions. Now most artists are always trying to find themselves, and that's one thing, they evolve. And that's what tonight is about, because I want to introduce to you the 3 paintings that have evolved the process one step further.
There's one behind.
And the first one I want to do is, this is Misty Days at the Falls.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite boys in the world.
It works.
Oh my god.
I'm gonna cry if that one.
This particular painting,
Yeah, sure, go ahead, let's clap.
it's an evolution of combining people networking and socializing at the falls, and then also a landscape, and then taking the hyper-reality of that particular, and using the hyper-realism to
I know.
accentuate that particular painting.
No, go ahead.
Okay. The next painting is something that was completely different. This painting, for about 3 years, I had the imagery for this painting, and then I had this painting in my mind. I wanted to take some of the classic painters like Da Vinci and Vincent van Gogh and combine that digitally, their styles, to come up with a painting, but then also add in my own flair for that. Now that's this painting here someplace else. On this particular painting, the woman, the reference that I had for that, there was no recognizable except for the fact that it was a woman and her face was shown in the dark. So I wanted to come through and have a much more painterly feel. Now, unlike this painting here, which I had 110 hours, and we estimated over 1.2 million digital brushstrokes. This particular painting, I was able to, and this one took me over about 4 months to create. This one here, I was able to paint digitally in 2 days, and then I spent another day on it. So in 3 days, I was able to create that one. But that's kind of how you evolve as an artist. You get you have your visions, and then you have your realism. So
Passions.
that's where I'm at with that. Now, the last painting, and this painting here is something that my wife had a great idea. But when I was young, I was into the band The Doors and Jim Morrison. And I thought I was Jim Morrison. So I tried to do a photo shoot of a photo shoot that he had done for his album cover, and I had a book with all the different shots. Well, back then you didn't have digital photography or phones, and I did the photo shoot with black and white film in my basement, and then 3 days later, because I was in art school, I developed my own photographs, and it didn't work. The background was perfect. It was a white background, but I was lit very, very poorly. So it was my wife's idea every artist has to do self-portraits, and I'm going to be doing a current one coming up. But she said, well, if you're going to do a self-portrait, why don't you do it in your prime? And you've always meant that photo shoot didn't work. So why don't you just paint it so that it works? And so with that said, here it is. This is called Days Gone By.
I remember that one.
You do remember that?
Oh, I love
I
this.
saw that one.
So feel free to go up and look at it, everybody. Thank you again for coming. And all of the donations from the tickets and everything, that goes directly to Ingenuity Fest. I'd like to thank Ingenuity Fest for their part in this. And then also anything that's purchased or bought tonight, I'm donating 10% of that also to Ingenuity. Thank you.